Hello, and this is day 12 of 100 videos with Diana Papilli. So today would have been my father's 99th birthday. He passed away a year and a half ago. And so I would like to honor my father's memory as I discussed on yesterday's video. But there's something else that's on my mind and heart to share. And it's been there ever since the day I spoke about inner voice. And I kept resisting, here comes that word again. I kept hesitating and resisting to share this, but it just has been so strong. So finally this morning I pulled up my computer and I started journaling. I thought, I just started journaling about why I really didn't want to share this. And as I was journaling about it, I realized that, wow, that's kind of silly. It's not very, those aren't good reasons. And it just kind of came to me again, sort of from my inner voice, that there's a reason, and this is kind of a transition into something else. So I'm just going to trust this process and go with it. So over 6 years ago now, when David passed away, it was, I can tell you the exact date because it would have been our 10th anniversary. It was July 28th of 2012. And that was the weekend that I scattered David's ashes on the Oregon coast. In fact, I didn't set out to do it on our 10th anniversary, but it just worked. That's just the way it worked out. And then when it was working out that way, I made the decision, yes, it's okay to do this on what would have been our 10th anniversary. And as I went through this whole process, and if you go to dianapapilli.com, you'll get to my blog site. And if you go to that date and the day before, there are a couple of posts surrounding that weekend, and you can read more of the details about it. But this is what it's on my heart to share with you now. And that is a very amazing inner voice experience that I had at that time. So I had scattered David's ashes. I had spent the weekend, or all of the weekend, that I was going to spend on the Oregon coast. And it was a long drive back to Boise. And I decided to just hit the road and take the drive. As I was driving, and I'm trying to remember, yes, I had left the coastal area and I had made the turn going through the beautiful mountains right there as you're leaving the coastal area. It was absolutely gorgeous, and they were hilly roads and somewhat winding roads. And my Mini Cooper handled, I had a different Mini Cooper at the time, but I also had a Mini. And my Mini Cooper handles those types of roads just beautifully because it just hugs the road. And as I was driving back and kind of enjoying the drive and feeling all of the emotion and somewhat of the melancholy of having taken that trip, and somewhat of a relief too, because this is something that I promised David I would do, and I fulfilled that promise. As I was driving, just minding my own business, paying attention to the road, enjoying the beautiful scenery, I heard my inner voice, this booming, wasn't booming, but it was very clear, very apparent, and very loud, especially for an inner voice experience. Very, very calm. But I heard it as clearly as clear can be. I heard these words: "You're not finished with love, Diana." Excuse me. Come non capisco. When I first heard that, I thought, okay, let's just drive the car off the road, off the cliff right now, because I don't want to deal with this. Excuse me? No way. I mean, I remember thinking, no, not going to happen. I'm not going to go through this again. Forget it. I am not going to deal with being widowed again. I can't deal with it. I just scattered my husband's ashes. I'm not going there. And so I have this argument inside my head with my inner voice. No, I'm not going to do that. Well, after I got finished with all my stomping and fuming and saying, no, 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 no. Hi, Lisa, I see you. Your adventure was pretty awesome too. Thank you so much for posting that. Anyway, as I got finished with that argument in my head, I realized, okay, I truly believe that my inner voice is associated with my higher power. So I'm not going to fight with it. And so I kind of just resigned and said, okay, all right, if this, whatever your will is, just guide and direct me through this process, because I really wasn't in any kind of a mood to talk about falling in love again after just scattering my husband's ashes. And of course, I didn't hear too much after that, but I have the faith that I thought, if this is my inner voice, that is my higher power, then I know it has my best interest at heart, and I'm going to be just fine. So then I started negotiating. I said, okay, if this is what you want, if I'm supposed to have love in my life again, then I'm going to ask for 3 things. And so I came up with the 3 things that I wanted, and I have never shared them with another living soul, not even my husband. And that's just between me and my higher power. But I said, these are the 3 things I want. And I want this to be genuine love, and and all this. And I don't want it to be difficult. I actually thought of some people who had beautiful relationships who I knew very well. And I kind of said, that's the kind of love I want, or I don't want love. And then I named the 3 things that I wanted. I wanted my new love interest to have these 3 qualities. And then I let it go. And I said, okay, thy will be done. I'm just going to go about my life, which I did. Well, here it is now, 6.5 years later, and I've been married now for almost 9 months. So the good news is that my wonderful husband, Tom, does have the 3 qualities that I asked for. And like I said, I haven't even told him what they are. That's just private. And I have the love that I want. I am so very grateful. I'm also grateful that I didn't fight and resist. The right amount of time passed. It was all perfect. All the timing was perfect. And I had the sufficient morning time. I had solo time. It was everything that I wanted and needed. Now, why am I sharing this story? Because like I said, I didn't want to share it. I share it with some of my personal friends, but I didn't want to share it with anybody, especially not on a video on Facebook. But I'm sharing that story for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's always hope. Somewhere way back, quite a few years ago, and I think maybe it was surrounding when my brother was unfortunately murdered, okay, at 39. I realized that somewhere in there, amidst all my prayers and all of that, I realized that my brother would not want me to get myself sick over the way he left. We have 2 guarantees in this world. No, it's not death and taxes. Well, death is one of them. That's the ultimate guarantee. But we have 2 guarantees in this world. We're going to make mistakes, okay? And that we're going to die. Isn't a one of us getting out of here alive? And we make mistakes in our life. And a lot of times mistakes aren't necessarily things that we did wrong, as they are things that we're learning. We need to learn from our mistakes, or we'll continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. And trust me, I've made a few of the same mistakes, so I get it. So I got a little bit sidetracked. But the point I was going to make is, it seems like our culture gets most upset and most wrapped around the axle when somebody either dies or makes a mistake. I mean, somebody makes a mistake and we go find lawyers and sue each other. And basically all we do is make the lawyers rich. And then, or somebody dies, well, they died before their time. And and some people, like, quote unquote, never get over a death of a loved one. Now, I appreciate that that may always leave a hole in your life, or you may always miss that person, but I feel like I owe it to my loved ones. It started with my brother. I feel like he would get really upset. I could hear him. I could hear him. He would come down here and say, "Sis, what the heck are you doing? It was my time to go. And the circumstances of my passing are none of your business and out of your control. Trust that to the universe because the universe is in charge." And so I didn't let this ruin me. And there's some posts on my blog about that too, and how that all came full circle after many years where I did volunteer work in a prison. And the same thing with David. I thought, oh my gosh, my time is coming. David, it was his time. My time is coming, but it wasn't right now. And so I owe it to him, and I owe it to myself, and I owe it to the universe to live my best life. Yes, I took time to grieve him and his loss, and yes, I still miss him, even though I'm happily remarried. But at the same time, I feel like I've moved on, and I'm living a really good life, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's the one thing I wanted to share with you. The one reason I wanted to share it with you. Another reason is I just believe, I shared the 3 things that I wanted, and I just believed that that's what I would get. I set a goal, if you will, a standard. It's sort of like I treasure mapped, if you've seen The Secret or understand the law of attraction. I mentally treasure mapped the 3 main qualities I wanted. And I mentally treasure mapped. I said, okay, I'm just going to give this to the universe. It's yours, God. It's all yours. And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to live my life. And I'm going to trust that if this is what it's supposed to be, this is what it's going to be. So I set my desire, my preference. I set my wants, and then I surrendered it and let it go. I didn't worry about the hows or any of that. And I could tell you a whole story about how we met and how everything happened, but that's not the purpose of this particular video. I guess it's just, that is kind of the ultimate inner voice experience. When I actually am finding myself dialoguing with my inner voice. And again, it's not like I'm having a conversation with a friend, so to speak. I don't hear those kinds of voices. I don't have little spiritual friends that visit me. But it is a mental conversation that I have. And I do get feedback from it. And it is very real. And where was the first place I went when I thought, oh, I need to have a conversation with my inner voice about this? Where is the first place I went? To my journal, because that's kind of where I go. I didn't go to meditation. I'm trying to hone that and work on it, but that's not where I went. I went to journaling, and I got answers very, very quickly. So I would just like to encourage you, if you haven't already done so. I mean, I may treat this like this is all brand new, and the fact is, you may have been doing this for years. But for those of you who might not be doing that and really listening to and communing with your inner voice, I cannot recommend it enough. It's very, very fulfilling. It's helpful, and it makes a huge difference in my life. So happy birthday in heaven to my dad, and all of you, God bless and keep you, and may you follow your heart, because I truly believe that is the tie to the universe and to our source, and that is where you're going to find your answers. Have a great evening, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.